What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Now today we're going to see how to make the best notes during class. Look at the alternatives for taking notes in class. Look at why the way you're taking notes right now is not the most efficient, and finally look at the most efficient system for taking notes, which I found through experience, through trial and error over a long period of time. So let's get started. And as always, timestamps are in the description below if you want to jump ahead or behind. Well, how do we usually take notes in class? Well, it looks a little bit like this. You just sit there and you copy down whatever the teacher says. There's very little processing of whatever the information is. You just write down whatever the teacher says and copy down whatever's on the whiteboard. And if you're studying at home or watching one of those study videos, it's probably even worse. You sit over there and you work at the same notes, making it into a work of art. You use like 20 different highlighters and you draw circles, you draw shapes, you draw like little figures. You make it extremely pretty, so good in fact that it would be horrible if anything happened to those notes. And the only thing that those notes become good for is rereading them, because they're so damn pretty, they're so damn beautiful that you don't want to touch them, you don't want anything to happen to them. Now this is the part you've been waiting for. All this is actually a waste of time. And why is it a waste of time? Because as I discussed in a previous video, and go check that out, I've linked it in the description below, there are two components of highly effective studying, and that is active recall and spaced repetition. And if you create notes in class which make it really difficult to do so, then your studying is not going to be effective at all. In fact, what this actually becomes is procrastination. And yes, you may feel like you're being highly productive, highly efficient, highly working really hard by making those lines and underlining things using different colored pens. But actually what this is doing is simply trading in high density fun for low density fun. You're trying to take something which is maybe not very pleasant, like studying, and turn it into something fun. But what happens is you miss out on the time for really high density fun, like going out with your friends, learning how to play the guitar, whatever you want. Because when you reduce the efficiency of your studying by making it more fun, then it takes longer to do the same thing. And that naturally eats into the time you have got for other things in life. Alright, so apart from the just write down whatever is there, what are the other kinds of note-taking systems? Well, you have got mind maps, you have got flow, you have got the outline, and you have also got the Cornell note-taking system. Now let's analyze each one of those. First, let's look at the outline method. Now, what are the advantages of the outline method? Because it's simply a collection of bullet points. Actually, that's all the outline method is. You make a bullet point, then if it's a sub point, you make a sub bullet point in that. If it's a sub point, you make another one. Because it is so rigorous, because it is so perfectly in one line, this is ideal for computers. And guess what? Because you're doing it on a computer, it makes it even easier to continue editing those notes after you're done. Or maybe adding some more information in. Maybe you're collating a lot of information for history or for economics. Disadvantages of the outline method is, again, let's go back to the principles of effective studying. You don't have any active recall in because it's primarily making those notes, and you don't have any capacity for spaced repetition. There's no spaced repetition built into this outline method. Another factor to consider is just bullet points may not be the easiest way or the most efficient way to take track of information, to write down that information. You may prefer to put it in a diagram. You may prefer a mind map. The outline method doesn't really account for all these. It's rather rigid. So what next? This brings us to the flow method. Now this brings us to the flow method. And the flow method is interesting because, as the name suggests, all it involves is writing down what you hear when you hear it in whatever form you want. Just writing it down in all over the page randomly, or in whatever stream of consciousness you would like it to be written. Maybe drawing some diagrams, maybe putting in a bullet point over there, maybe putting a numbered list over there. Whatever you want. It's entirely a flow of consciousness. You write down the ideas as they are delivered to you. Obviously, the issue with the flow method is there's no active recall again, and there's no spaced repetition. However, the flow method does allow you to write down the ideas in the way you feel is the most optimal. You can write it down in any way you want. You aren't restricted to just the bullet points. However, the flow method may lead to a big mess, just a big mess of information, which is impossible to glean anything from, which kind of defeats one of the main purposes of taking notes in class, which is the storage hypothesis. You put those notes over there so that you can retrieve them later on and you can study them later on. So as a way of bringing order to the flow method, you've got the mind map system. And obviously everyone knows about mind maps. You've got the main idea in the center, and then you just branch out from there. But really, the issue with mind maps is, again, although it is more organized than the flow method, although it allows you to get a little bit creative with the way you're processing that information, putting it down and creating those links, there's no active recall, there's no spaced repetition. Actually, at the end, with that big spider thing that you end up with, you might even be more confused as to how to incorporate that active recall and spaced repetition in. So far we have talked about all these note-taking systems, but the next one, the next conventional note-taking system is the best by far, and still it is not enough. This is the Cornell note-taking system. Basically, it's called the Cornell note-taking system because it was invented by some professor at Cornell. So what happens in the Cornell note-taking system is, you take a blank piece of paper and then you divide it up into 3 parts. You create one column called the Q column, you create one column for the notes, and you create one column for the summary. So the instructions for the Cornell note-taking system are very simple. You put your notes in the notes column and you put them in maybe bullet points, maybe a mind map, whatever you want. You then put the key cues in the left hand side column, in the Q column. Maybe it was about a definition. Maybe you wanted one question. Maybe you want some further line of inquiry. All this goes beside that information in the Q column. Maybe there's a keyword somewhere. That also goes there. And finally, after the lecture is over, you take a few minutes of your time while you're at home, create a summary of what you learned in class, and you put that in the summary column. And this is meant to be done at home or at the hostel, basically after the lecture. The reason why the Cornell note-taking system is the best so far is because it's got slightly a small amount of active recall in there, in which you could potentially cover up that area of the notes and the cues column and then create your own summary. Again, there is no spaced repetition and this active recall is highly limited. So the question is, what is to be done? And this is where I believe the enhanced Cornell note-taking system can come into play. So if you take enhanced Cornell notes, what it looks like is basically you listen to what the teacher is saying. Then you start processing it. You ask yourself questions. What does this really mean? Is it worth writing down? Am I going to benefit from writing it down? So you see, at that very moment, you started encoding that information in your head. And you really start actively thinking about that information, critically evaluating that information before making a note of it. That already helps you in processing that information, in learning whatever the teacher is talking about, whether it's math or algebra or geography, whatever. Once you have thought about what the teacher is saying, you write it down in the form of a question. So you put a question in and then you put the answer from the lecture right below that question. So it's question, answer, question, answer. You're literally writing out question answer sets for yourself. Now what happens later is the magic. Because you've written out questions and answers, it's infinitely easier to do some spaced repetition and testing yourself. You simply cover up the answer and see whether you can remember it. There is no additional need to create notes at home for active recall or flashcards. I'll cover flashcards in another video. Those are a different ball game. But in this simple system, you can really incorporate the principles of active recall and spaced repetition, also known as effective studying. Finally, you may ask, but Rishi, all the toppers in my class are doing this the same way. They all just copy down whatever the teacher says. And I know how you feel, because back in like 10th grade, I actually stole one of the toppers' notebooks. Yeah, sue me. I actually went through that person's notebook and I was shocked because this person was regularly topping the grade. Always, without a doubt. If you had a bell curve, this person would be right at the end. Complete outlier. And in this person's notebook, there was nothing special. It was exactly the same as everything before. As it was exactly the same as my notebook, as my friend's notebook, as some completely random person's notebook. But what I'm showing you right now is how you can study more efficiently. So you don't have to rely on some talent or some other thing. Because let's face it, the toppers can get to where they are through a lot of hard work, through a lot of determination. If you can get to the same point with less hard work, then why not? Why the hell not? Now you're equipped to make the deadliest notes in class. So go out there and just pound away at those notes and make sure you're incorporating active recall and spaced repetition. I know I've said that so many times in this video, but really it's all that there is to studying. If you found this video helpful, then leave a comment below, smash that like button, share it, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll catch you soon.